Keyword Crypto, welcome to the show. Special edition, last minute episode where...
Bloody Thursday.
Yeah. So I don't... This is like Bitcoin's 9/11 or something. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, let's not.
Oh, does that hurt too much? That...
I think comparing anything to 9/11 when people aren't actually being murdered en masse is probably not the best route.
Dude, a virus is murdering people en masse. So...
Well, I mean, but I wouldn't... But like... do you think the virus is the reason Bitcoin's going down?
I personally don't think so, but no doubt in my mind that people believe that that's the reason. No, I believe in all kinds of other conspiracy theories, but...
You? No.
So how is your
All right,
day?
let's hear 'em.
I just want to talk about last night I'm looking at like a 7K Bitcoin or whatever, and I'm thinking this is probably a good spot to buy. Before I go to bed, I woke up in the morning and my wife is like, I bought Bitcoin this morning because it was at like 6,000. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then like throughout the day, I'm thinking I should buy more. And then, yeah. The other thing I'm doing is I'm working on a horror film score right now. So I'm like playing this like terrifying music. My wife is working from home because of the virus, so she has to put up with this like terrorizing dark drones and like harsh strings like screeching your ears. And I'm doing this while I'm watching Bitcoin like bleed to death.
Completely collapse.
It's like the Bitcoin horror special. Yeah. So that was my day basically. And yeah, I tried to catch that knife all the way down. So
You know, I completely missed 3,800. I was watching it, and I watched the green candle go, and I was like, "Ooh, that's bigger than normal." Mm-hmm. And I should have bought there and just scalped, but I was like, I don't know, man. Tomorrow seems like it's gonna be another really bad day, and I don't know. Honestly, I sold everything. I sold everything today.
Yeah, you said that. I didn't believe you at first.
Over the last 3 days, I sold everything.
Oh man.
I mean, no, it's not bad at all. It's
good.
Yeah.
You haven't bought back yet, though. You're still out of the market right now.
I'm completely out of the market right now. So,
how does it feel? How does it feel to be crypto free?
It feels very, very scary. Like the FOMO is real. I wanna buy. I like when those 3 green candles hit on the 5-minute for BTC USD. I was just like, I was panicking. I was like, no, keep it together. Probably just a dead cat bounce.
So let's put our audience in perspective. Right now it is 20 after 9 p.m. on the Pacific coast of the U.S. Bitcoin just dropped down to about 3,800 and then bounced immediately up to something like 55 or 58. What's it at right
58.
now? 58.
Right now is
so it just jumped up.
5,200.
It just jumped up like what? That's like 11%, 10% or something. That's crazy.
No, from 38 to 58? That's like 40%.
But I just meant in the last like 10 minutes. But yeah, no, since the bottom, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's because, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think people realize, like, yeah, in one day it dropped 25% and then jumped back up like 30 or 40%. I mean, that's nuts.
There's Bitcoin for you on a special day. I mean, we've seen pumps and we've seen dumps, but I've never seen a daily red candle that just made me kind of stare at it all day long. That's kind of what I was doing. I've got 3 computer screens in my office, and one of them was just a big fat red candle staring at me while I worked, while I made horror music. I'm gonna play some horror music right in this episode somewhere. I'm just gonna throw it in there.
yeah, just to scare the shit out of people. So what are some of these conspiracy theories you have?
Well, I don't think these are conspiracy theories. I think that Wall Street has been waiting to clear out. They know a recession is coming. They wanted to be the one. Everybody who has any sort of influence there, who can manipulate the market, probably wanted to make a recession happen. They want to have control over it. Last year, up until last week, we had thousands and thousands of CEOs leaving, stepping down, probably cashing out their corporate stock. People just leaving, getting ready to go, waiting for something that they can claim is the catalyst for a crash. And that's why that's what I personally believe is the cause of this. I don't think it's a virus that's causing the stock market to crash. I think Bitcoin is probably crashing because of a lot of the mayhem, but also just because now there's so many banks on Wall Street that are also invested in crypto. They're probably it's probably at this point pretty parallel. I hate to say it, but
yeah, I mean, Real Crypto did a live stream today. He's one of the few guys I actually watch, and shout out to Real Crypto. And he said something that kind of really resonated. He said, look, now that crypto's in all these Wall Street funds, they're it's going to get treated like any other stock, where the boss is going to walk up to some hedge, to some like grunt and say, that's one of our riskier ones, take 50% of it off the books. And just like that, 50% is gone. So they're liquidating 50% of their portfolio, which is probably like 300 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin or 2,000 Bitcoin, and they're doing it in one fell swoop. And so all of a sudden, I don't know.
I don't
know if all of that is on the books.
It wouldn't be.
I want to say part of it is OTC, but then I would think at the same time they want it to dump so they can buy back lower.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. I saw today that somebody, I got one of those whale alerts that, some address sent, 50,000 Bitcoin to Bittrex. What are you going to do with 50,000 Bitcoin on Bittrex? Because you can't sell it. There's not enough liquidity for that. Are you going to buy altcoins? I don't think you're going to buy altcoins. Is it just to scare the shit out of people so that they sell? That's what I was kind of thinking. It's just to scare the shit out of people. Like, oh no, some big crypto dude's gonna sell his stack on Bittrex. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't even think these are conspiracy. I mean, that's what I described as definitely a conspiracy theory. I don't know if all the CEOs cashed out and crashed the market, but it does seem
I think it's pretty odd that, it's not thousands and thousands like you said, but it was definitely like 20 or 30 of some of the biggest CEOs in the world all stepped down within a month or two of each other.
There were thousands last year.
Thousands?
Yep. Thousands of CEOs stepped down last year, within the last year.
Oh, no. I'm talking about in the last month and a half to 2 months.
The big ones, the ones
20 or 30, huge ones. Like, Bob Iger from Disney.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think that's chance. I think you're right. I think they see the, everything written on the walls, and they're getting out and cashing out their stocks before they lose, 60% of their portfolio, because they're learning from 2008 when they didn't retire. They tried to right the ships during the middle of the recession, got their golden parachute, and then just got flayed by the public.
Right.
The public wanted their fucking heads on a pike.
Oh, so this time they're doing the right thing by selling all their corporate stock so they can just sit out until
no one's gonna know. Yeah, no one's gonna know.
Oh man. So what are some other conspiracy theories? Well, Plus Token still has a lot of control over Bitcoin and especially Ethereum, so they could do a lot of damage to crypto. Imagine if Plus Token sold all their Ethereum right now. That would do some damage.
Don't they have more Ethereum than they do Bitcoin?
I don't know, but they have a lot.
Percentage-wise?
So,
here's my thing. So, Plus Token has all this Ethereum. And I guess, I don't know. I'm talking about like staking and stuff. At a certain point, once you start staking, does a shady conglomerate or does a shady group of hackers that has a large percentage of Ethereum, can they do anything staking wise with that? Can they manipulate stuff? Can they have any kind of control once proof of stake kicks in?
That's a good question.
We need to get somebody from ETH in here.
Yeah. What are some other causes for the chaos today? And there's nothing technical that
Trump
that you can
last
point to.
night. So every time Trump opens his mouth, the market tanks about 5%.
Yeah,
Over the
he's-
last 2 weeks, every time he's gotten on camera officially
real
and
virus.
spoken, he scares the living shit out of everyone. And
So what do
I
you say
think
that
that's
scared
part
people?
of it.
Like, I mean,
well, he's just incompetent, and I think people are when they hear him speak, they're not encouraged.
So
They don't feel safe, and so
they rush out to sell their stocks.
I think that's partly it.
Hmm.
Because you got to remember that up until last night, Trump had been saying everything's fine, nothing wrong. The numbers are going to go down. It's a hoax. It's the Democrats. Blah blah blah. And you listen to Fox News, and they're repeating that verbatim. It's all a hoax. All a hoax. It's the Democrats. It's all politics. You go on Twitter, like the senator who got appointed from Georgia, she's just on Twitter nonstop saying Democrats are evil. Democrats are horrible. They're unpatriotic. They're
So what did the Democrats do?
They're nothing.
But
They're
I
just
mean-
trying to get people to take this seriously, and trying to get bills passed.
Okay.
So
all right.
there's a bill in the House right now or there's a bill in the Senate that got passed that McConnell just said, nope, not going to happen. And it's just about helping
Right.
out people like pay their rent and stuff like that. And he was like, nope, unless it's about helping Wall Street, we're not signing it.
help people pay their rent bill.
Yeah.
It
So
sounds like
last
something
night
that
was
people
the
would be
very
for.
first. Yeah. So last night was the first night Trump actually said, "Okay, this is serious. We're not going to let people from Europe in. We're not going to blah blah take this. This is real." And then all of a sudden, I was telling other people. So for the last few weeks, I've been kind of going in periodically. Every time to the grocery stores, grabbing this, grabbing that stock. Always grabbing like a couple extra things just in case. And I'm just surprised. Wow, there's tons of water on the shelf. There's nothing's missing. I'm not seeing any shelf with any empty space.
You're not. You haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. And then last
We've
night
seen
was
it
the
up
first
here,
night.
yeah.
I've seen it a little bit with toilet paper.
Yeah.
We keep seeing the memes about toilet paper, toilet paper, toilet paper.
It's kind of funny.
But
Yeah.
today, I had an audition at 12 o'clock, and I went right to the grocery store afterwards. There was nothing.
There-
A complete run
Oh,
on the
really?
grocery store. That
Oh, there-
3 days earlier had been completely stocked.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So I just went to the grocery store today, and it was fine. I mean, there were some things that were missing. They didn't have any rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer, but otherwise, we were good. Now we're kind of more in the suburbs up here, so it's like, we're not. I've heard. Yeah, like Noah said, in the city in San Francisco, it's hard to find certain things, and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I went in today. There was not a single bottle of water on the shelf.
Interesting.
90% of the meat was gone from the meat department. 90%, or all the black beans were gone. 90% of all the other beans were gone. 80% of all the tuna fish was gone.
I wonder what the weirdest thing is that people stock up on, like when they're in panic mode. Not like the preppers, but like I wonder what the weirdest. The grocery store people are probably good people to interview about what happens in a situation like this. I'm sure
That'd
some
be
people just
interesting.
use like, how did I end up with all these water chestnuts or something? Like
It's like, because that's all that was left, dude.
I don't know. There was no label on them, so I just figured they were food or something. Yeah. So I don't know what is. Yeah, virus. I guess it's. I mean, it's apparently a very, very big deal. We all knew it was kind of coming, and I think that the thing that
I think everybody on crypto Twitter definitely knew,
yeah, I guess so.
because we've been talking about it for 3 months now.
Because we know about viral things on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to talk about this guy, but he he shed a lot of light to it because Crypto Bitlord,
Oh yeah.
that dude was in China, and
Oh,
he
right,
he
right,
got
yeah.
separated, and he got this, and he got that, and so
That's
he
true,
he was
yeah.
definitely he was shining a firsthand light on it in crypto Twitter, and then a lot of the other quote unquote conspiracy people. I mean, they're not really conspiracy people, but like they just
conspiracy people.
Yeah, I mean, they were shedding light on it. There were a lot of messages that were getting through from China were getting on American Twitter, and so I feel like we all knew about it, and I just kept being surprised that nobody was taking it seriously. And I was back in Michigan a couple weeks ago. I had a family member. They're like, it's all overblown. It's nothing. Flu kills a lot more people. And I'm just thinking to myself, China doesn't shut down, 1/4 of their production because of the flu.
Yep.
This shit is serious. You don't have an authoritarian regime built on slavery shut down because of the flu, right? I mean, that's some serious shit.
Yeah.
When an authoritarian regime that can literally point a gun to your head and said, no, you're going to fucking work. I don't care if you're worried about coronavirus.
Yeah.
You're going to fucking work. Like, they didn't do that. They were like, nobody go to work.
Yep.
Everybody stay home. We're shutting this fucking whole city down. Like, authoritarian regimes do not do that for the fucking flu. So, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't help but like be surprised that Americans weren't taking it seriously.
I have the same situation. I'm supposed to fly to Florida at the end of this month for work, and the person who hired me, I told him, it might be an issue just flying there and stuff like that. And he said, the news makes everything look worse than it is. And I definitely agree with them. The news has got to do whatever the news does to get people to watch it. And having a virus on there 24/7 that says it's going to kill you silently in your sleep is something that you want to pay attention to. But also the disregard for just the facts, like that there were 15 million people quarantined in Italy or whatever, or
the whole country's quarantined now.
Yeah, now the whole country. At the time, it was just the northern half, and also the fact that I'm in San Francisco, which is a major hub, and we have a cruise ship full of coronavirus in our bay right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's like right there. You can wave at them. They're like, they can't dock yet because they don't know what to do with them.
And that's what really frustrates me. It's Trump's created this paranoia of the media, when if you listen to the media, if you've been watching the media for the last month, what they've been saying over and over and over again is, this is fucking serious. It's not life-threatening unless you're old. So wash your hands so you don't infect old people. They keep, they're being really, really upfront and honest with this. They're like, look, you don't have anything to worry. You almost have nothing to worry about if you're under 50 and you're in good shape and you're relatively healthy. You almost have nothing to worry about. But if you're older, or if you have all these underlying diseases, this is really dangerous and it's really easy to catch, and blah blah blah. Like, they're not like everyone's freak out and everyone blah blah. They're just like, hey, you need to. They're even saying, just wash your hands. Just wash your hands multiple times a day, more often.
Yeah, well,
don't cough into your hands, cough into your elbow. Like, just basic stuff. And they're like, oh, the media is creating a panic. Like, no.
Well, this is America. Everything is a debate in America, even if it's coming to kill you.
Everything's political now, and it's just like, it's going to be the destruction of our country.
So is coronavirus, is coronavirus a Republican or Democrat? It's like, who so I guess there's still people that don't even believe that it's going to happen, that it's happening.
My mom called her neighbor literally this morning and said, hey, so is everything okay with your son? Because her son's an ER doctor. And she's like, what do you mean?
Oh, wow.
The coronavirus. She's like, oh, that's just a hoax.
That's just a hoax, really? But Tom Hanks has it. Tom Hanks has it. How could it be a hoax?
This morning, I know. And she's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, even the president just said about it last night. She goes, oh, we don't watch that stuff. It's all fake. And so she had to sit there and talk to her for like a half hour and be like, look. Well, at first she honestly thought it was a left-wing conspiracy by the Democrats. And she's like, my mom's like, you realize China isn't like working with the Democrats to fix the election, right? You realize Italy doesn't give a fuck about our elections. South Korea, Japan, all these countries that are, completely fucking quarantining their entire country. They don't give a shit about our elections.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know anybody who is infected, at least who knows that they're infected and has told me. So, yeah. But everyone that I know is at least concerned about it, as you should be. But fighting over toilet paper, I guess toilet paper is an important thing, isn't it? I never really understood.
If you don't have any backup,
I guess so. It just seems
Mike in space, the man of the people, is like, fuck you, I'm taking your toilet paper and you can use a rag, bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a classic guy, Mike in space.
So what happens now? What is this going to be? Is this going to be a bounce? Is this going to be a long, drawn-out crypto recession? Some altcoins are probably going to not recover from this, right? That's what I'm guessing.
Do they ever really go away? Verge is a perfect example. Nothing really ever goes away.
Well, I'm talking about the ones with no liquidity, with very little value that hit zero and nobody can trade anymore. At least Verge has some liquidity because there are some Verge whales moving it around. But like some are going to completely disappear, just like some of the altcoins from 2014 or whatever. Go the way of Peercoin or Namecoin or whatever. Namecoin might still be around, but and then so what are we gonna have? Are we gonna have a bounce and some volatility, or is this gonna turn into 2014 where
it seemed
everyone is just
2014
Bitcoin is dead, it's never gonna come back? Is that what's gonna happen?
Okay, so this is,
or we can talk.
We have the halvening coming up in 60 days, and
is that going to be good or bad? I don't know.
If it's still down here when that happens,
that's going to be rough.
That's going to be rough for the miners.
I sent you
right
a
now
message,
at 5,000, it's rough for the miners.
Like the idea of miner capitulation, where it doesn't make sense for them to continue mining because they're losing so much money mining and paying for the electricity that they just slowly start to shut off their machines. Or maybe they do it quickly, and that's how that's one end of Bitcoin. And that's what I thought, like, okay, well, if the reward, which is the majority of their income as miners, if that gets cut in half, like, if I'm a miner, I'm like, screw this. I'm going to go find another job.
Or just a different coin.
Or a different coin, or whatever. Yeah.
So that's the thing. When it was down to 3,500 back in 19?
No, it was just a year ago. 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. There were all the pictures of people in China just throwing out their machines just because it was no longer cost effective. They couldn't afford it.
It's a hoax by the Democrats.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go on.
No, and so maybe that happens again this time. My thing is, it's like, what happened to Litecoin? I heard that kind of happened with Litecoin for a while, and Litecoin's never really, since their happening, hasn't really kind of taken off. Remember, because it was the one that started the bull market, the last bull market, and this was before their happening, and then the happening happened, and it's just like nothing's happened with Litecoin since. So, it could be, I don't know. Really, who's using Litecoin at this point? Is anybody actually using Litecoin?
I don't know the Litecoin story too much. Litecoin, oh, you mean silver to Bitcoin's gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know. When was the Litecoin happening?
I don't know, like a year ago maybe?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Nine months ago.
Let's take a look at the Litecoin chart, LTC. See what's going on with it. I'm sure it looks just as happy as Bitcoin.
So right now, no one's using Bitcoin. Just looks like every other
altcoin.
Yeah, so right now, no one's using Bitcoin, and I'm rewatching Mr. Robot, and the shit hits the fan, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to take eCoin?" Okay, sure, here you go. And I'm thinking like, well, yeah, because they can't use fucking Bitcoin because you can't wait around for 10 minutes for a cup of coffee.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, oh, and so, lightning people will say, well, lightning's coming. And it's like, well, you've been saying that for 2 years. It's like, come on, like what, either it is or it isn't, it still doesn't work. Still 33% of transactions fail. I mean, that is not a good success rate. Like, so my thing is like, if you have to use something, what are you going to use?
Well,
here come the nano shill guys.
Yeah, maybe nano guys would jump in. So I would think Monero would be more popular, especially if it's got to be used. Most of the time when money's got to be used, and it's got to be something that can be, most likely got to be used for something illicit. But
no, I'm talking about like actual day to day. If everything just kind of collapses.
You mean if the U.S. dollar collapses too, and we need to pay each other something? Like what are you
not
talking
if
about?
the U.S. dollar collapses, but if let's just say like we have a Mr. Robot scenario where like the banking system just goes down because of a hack or something like that. What are you going to do? You're going to wait around for 10 minutes for a transaction?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pay extra, and then and pay $1.50 for a transaction fee for a cup of coffee. It's like I just don't see it happening. I don't. And then now as a store of value, it's realizing that it is completely tied to Wall Street now.
Yeah, or maybe not completely, but there's a very strong possibility of that.
Yeah, so it's not really a store of value because when shit hits the fan, people are running from Bitcoin just as much as they're running from anything else. So, what is it at that point? Like, I don't know. I don't know. These last guests we've had on have really, and I was already a Bitcoin bear, but I don't know, man. Like, DeRose and Jason really, really swayed me away from it.
Chris, Bitcoin is a failed project arose.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, one of the reasons that I did believe in BTC, the ticker BTC, was that there was so much invested in it. We knew that there were institutional buyers. We had a good idea that there was a lot of OTC buying and selling going on with Bitcoin. No big institutions were looking at any other coins really. So that made me think, okay, it'll probably just get propped up with other stocks and commodities and stuff. And that was what I was thinking would drive the price. But I don't know. That stuff can get dumped, in which case there's not really much of a use case for Bitcoin.
So that's when I was like, okay, well, maybe it's Ethereum, because maybe Ethereum is getting used. Because I hear everyone's using Ethereum, everyone's building on top of Ethereum. I keep hearing that, But then I was moving.
Everyone's using Ethereum.
I was moving I moved some Bitcoin, so I had everything on my ledger. So I moved some Bitcoin, and it took about like 5-10 minutes to get to Coinbase Pro. And then I moved some Ethereum, and it took like an hour and a half.
Wait, to move Ethereum?
Yeah.
Really?
To get to, it's just like, what the fuck's going on, man?
Usually it takes 5 minutes to move Ethereum for me.
Usually it takes like a minute. But then I heard like the network was totally clogged up and congested today.
What was it this time?
So then I'm just like, all right, well, maybe Chainlink needs to make its own chain or something like that, or be a side chain, or maybe it's going to be XTZ, or maybe it's going to be Holochain, or maybe it's going to be Zilliqa. Like it's just like throwing a fucking dart at a board and hoping that you pick a winner at this point.
Yeah, but so you still believe that there's going to be something. Crypto has a future, and it's one that's probably imminent. I kind of have a longer view of it. Like, I think this is really groundbreaking technology, even if it's in its infancy right now. Even if Bitcoin is
old technology. No. Because blockchain itself is pretty old.
Yes, and so is Bitcoin. But I mean, like, as far as the ways that people use it. Ethereum was not really meant to be used in many of the ways that it's been used, in the ways that it's been popularized. Ethereum is has always sort of been meant to be more of a tool. And if that's the case, well, then we're going to need a lot of technicians in the future who use something like Ethereum, and we're not even close to that yet. So I don't know. That's the way I see it, is that this is all something that's going to be changing the future years and years from now, not the thing that we just use to get rich over the next year or whatever.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, it really, I'm not going to lie, I do have a lot of fear of companies just deciding to use their own chain or whatever and like saying, well, we don't care about decentralization. Like, we can have 10 different nodes around the world and have them run individually and not really have to worry about it, because like it's like if they're all separate and there's no single point of failure, how is that any different? Like, how is that any less secure than quote unquote decentralized, where you don't know any of the people doing it? And it's just like, but if it's like B of A or fucking Long Island Iced Tea blockchain, like, who cares? At the end of the day, who cares if it's decentralized? Like, is if they have 12 nodes split up throughout the world.
I don't really see why they would do that anyway. I mean, why not just use the database?
Sure,
You
yeah,
know,
but
like,
if but that's my thing. It's just like, why wouldn't they just make their own?
Right.
And so then I'm like, okay, well, who are the people? So Chainlink all of a sudden excites me, because it's like, oh, well, someone's gonna need a third party to connect everybody, and that's what Chainlink does, in a sense.
Chainlink for the future.
And then my cousin's like, oh yeah, Hyundai's gonna work with them, and I was just like, oh shit, okay. But then so like that's what I'm thinking. Like, so I don't want to invest in somebody else's shovel if he owns the shovel, because then like whatever he mines, whatever he finds with it, he gets to keep, because it's his shovel. And it's like, I gave him $10 to buy the shovel, but like he pays me back at 15%, and it's like, all right, that's it, I'm done. So if I can buy invest in the company that is making the shovels, and so every miner around the world is using a shovel, that's something that intrigues me. And so, but like, who are those companies? Because nobody's making any shovels with Bitcoin. I don't see anybody running anything on top of Bitcoin. I don't see any companies working on top of Bitcoin. I don't see any dApps running on top of Bitcoin. I don't see anything running on Bitcoin. And I'm just like, well, then what's the point of it? If no one's using it and no one's building on it, then seriously, what's the point?
Man, you're such a no-coiner, man.
Dude, I know.
Just sell all your crypto in one day, and all of a sudden, I guess you've always been that way. So have I. I like to see Bitcoin crash and burn, because I like to buy it when it's cheap, because I still think it's going to go up. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I do kind of get excited when we talk about how Bitcoin doesn't work. But
I got buy orders. So
oh, okay, there you go.
I'm not gonna lie.
So, yeah. Well, one of the things that we haven't really talked about in this, in a situation like this, is kind of the emotions, which at this point, having been watching crypto almost every day for a couple of years now, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of desensitized to. I mean, it's like when we were talking to Mike in Space when he was on the show. There's no way it doesn't affect you when the price drops. If you're invested, it's a hard thing to watch. And you just told me at the beginning of the show that even though you're a no-coiner now, like, it really freaks you out because just the FOMO is always there. It's like
it freaked me out when it pumped.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't in it. And I was like, oh shit, I need to buy back in. I was like, no, hold your horses.
But that's a feeling that could come back as soon as another green candle pops up. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, that's a really uncomfortable situation to be in. And it's not uncomfortable because, it's only uncomfortable because we all have this thing where we're second guessing ourselves and the decisions that we're making. It's like, did I just make the right decision by pressing that button?
Well, it's funny. The further it fell, the less interest I had in it. I could care less, because I just kept on selling all the way down. Like, starting from 3 days ago till about 12 hours ago, 6 hours ago.
It was all your fault.
I was just
You're
selling,
all the way
entire
down.
time. It was all the way down.
And I was there buying, buying every time you were selling, probably
Yeah.
the same amounts too. You could
Yeah.
have just sold straight to me, and we wouldn't have had to
Exactly.
pay
Saved all
the.
those fees.
Yeah, damn. Yeah. Well,
Well, because so like Crypto Bella, I think her name is on Twitter. She was like, if you're still feeling emotion as it's
Bitcoin
falling,
Bella. Yeah.
if you're still feeling emotion as it's falling, you're not a master yet, or like something cheesy like that. I mean, it was cute. It was
Liar.
funny. I was just like, honestly, yeah, I
Oh,
don't
you-
care.
You don't feel anything at all. Oh, that's the thing. It's like when I see it fall, I definitely still feel something. I'm like, oh man, what a drag. Just because it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, even though I'm usually the one on this show that gets excited when it goes down because I get to buy more. But no, there's part of me that's like, that's a big candle. I mean, that's, going from 7,000 to 3,900 in one day.
Yeah,
So it's hard not to have a reaction to that. And then, of course, it just becomes a distraction from everything else that we want to take care of.
I was telling Mike in space because he's like, "What do people think?" And I'm like,
What do people
"Fucking
think of
bring
what?
the pain, dude." Because I got called off. 100% of my work got called off this week because of coronavirus, and I'm assuming that the next month and a half will be work free as well. So now I'm officially a day trader.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
I got
wait,
nothing else to do.
you don't have, are you like, so you just don't have work anymore?
I'm on unemployment right now.
Oh man, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. My buddy called me last week. He works down in San Diego. He works in the hotel industry. And he pinged me. He's like, all right, the 2 hotels I work at, we just lost a total of $17 million over the next month.
Wow.
Everybody canceled. And that was a week and a half ago. That was before any announcements from Trump, anything like that. That was when Trump was still downplaying it all.
Yeah.
These were people at the big hotels down there, and they're like, yeah, we know, we feel it. So all my I work at a really small hotel in LA. And it's all I'd say like 70% of it is local business, like Hollywood people and, the small parties and birthday parties for famous people, and,
Mhm.
like 50th birthday parties where they spend like $60,000. Like, so those are the kind of people that we have at the hotel. And
Right.
for the most part, those kind of people tend to live in a bubble and not think about, not worry about that kind of stuff.
Not worry about what kind of stuff.
Like coronavirus. They're just
Okay.
like, we're rich. We
Right.
don't have to worry about that kind of shit. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden Tom Hanks gets it. And they're like, what? Not Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, and now all of a sudden they're freaked out. And so I was a little insulated by it, work wise. But now that they're all freaked out, that's it.
Yeah, my brother did
Unemployment.
the same thing. My brother heard that Tom Hanks had it, and he was like, "I got to do my will," and he literally did his will. That day.
Poor Tom Hanks.
Man, he
Fingers
can really.
crossed he's okay because
he
he's a legend.
Yeah.
But
So-
and I do want to bring Noah on or somebody. Or I was talking with my my local council member, and California is in for a big world of hurt, because if this goes on for like 2 or 3 months, unemployment is only $450 a week. So what's that? That's $1,800 a month. The average rent in LA is like $3,000. And I don't think people really realize just how little we get for unemployment in California. And I think that if it happens like 3 or 4 months and people aren't working for 3 or 4 months, or, their work is severely hampered, I think people are going to realize pretty quick that unemployment isn't going to cover the artificially inflated rents. And California could start to collapse a little bit more.
Yeah.
My friends think that the government would step in and fix it, but I'm like, what do? You just so the landlords get to make out like bandits while the rest of us suffer,
Yeah.
and then all of our tax dollars just go to the landlords anyway. And
It's a
that
cluster.
would be a shitty fucking thing. Like that would I would not be happy with that.
It's definitely a clusterfuck. There's no way around it. Like if we have, I think I posted on Facebook. I said this will be my third recession of my lifetime. And then somebody responded and they said, I don't buy stocks, so I never pay attention. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Well,
that's hardcore.
Well,
Do they live in a hammock in the woods?
That's the thing. It's like you're naive if you say that because, this means LA right now is a booming economic bubble right now. I mean, you can buy a vegan burrito on every corner or whatever. Yeah. I lived in a town that had 2 specialty pet stores. One was for rabbits and one was for reptiles. And like the stuff that just couldn't exist unless there was plenty of money for everyone. And I really think this is going to just, I hate to say it, but shake people out.
They're already so apparently in Koreatown and Chinatown, Chinatown up in Pasadena area, in Koreatown, are hurting. They're down like 70%. Their sales right now, 70% for 2 weeks straight now.
Who is
because
this?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know if you remember, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Everybody on Twitter was screaming about this Korea Airlines stewardess flight attendant who went to Koreatown, and then she found out she had coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And then people were like, well, can you get us a list of all the places she went to? And somebody apparently just made up a fake list of 5 restaurants and didn't, like, no white person cared about that apparently, but they send it to all the Korean people in California.
Crazy.
And then they all got on Kakao Talk or whatever it is, whatever that messaging app is that all the Koreans use. And apparently it went viral, and those 5 restaurants, it turned out it was a complete hoax, but at that point it was too late. All the Koreans. And this eatery guy was on the radio today, and he's like, "Yeah, you go in there now, and it's like not all these. It's like there's barely anybody there, and the people that are there are white, because they don't because they're not on Kakao Talk or whatever it is, or I don't what's
okay.
That?
So that's an example of how coronavirus can ruin your local community.
Yeah.
Is all of a sudden they hear your restaurant has the virus, even though it's not true. Because, man,
they even had a couple of the Korean
ugly
restaurants apparently had people in hazmat suit come in and just sanitize the entire place just to try to convince people that there was nothing there.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't really, at that point, it doesn't really work.
So, like, what's going to happen in San Francisco and LA, where the rent is $3,000 minimum or average or whatever? So what is this recession going to last? 1 year, 2 years? Is it going to be the big one?
We're just talking about coronavirus right now.
Right. Well, no,
if it slides into the recession, we're fucked, man.
I mean, this to me, because coronavirus is going to be a thing for the next month or two, least, probably longer.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then we're in for a recession.
Yeah.
Maybe
we're
even a depression.
We're already in bear territory, Wall Street wise now.
All we need is
today.
All we need is one more catalyst, whether it's real or not. Somebody to come out and get caught scamming somebody else, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. We're gonna find out that Jamie Dimon or whatever actually did something bad, or whatever,
like raped little boys or something. And then,
I don't know.
I just don't think that would actually do it.
That would just be another catalyst for people to dump more. That would just be something to go, oh yeah, it's the coronavirus and the volcano in Indonesia or whatever. Like, just give them a reason.
I just don't think we need like even something that salacious. I think if you're following the energy sector at all, with what's going on with China and Russia, fighting about that, and then finding out that I don't know if it's true, but I read somewhere that the majority of triple Bs in the stock market are shale oil. And if the price of oil continues to collapse, all the shale people are going to go bankrupt, and that would just completely collapse all the triple Bs, and that would just be kind of like a repeat of 2008. And then somebody else was saying, we're about to hit a tipping point for subprime auto loans, just like it happened with subprime mortgages. But I just don't think that that's a big enough market, and for it to completely tank us because because the price.
I don't know anybody who has multiple subprime, who has multiple cars bought on loan personally.
No, I think it's just a matter of like more people own cars than own homes. And so a higher percentage of people have subprime auto loans than had subprime mortgages.
Right.
And so if those all
loans,
collapse
maybe,
all at once.
I don't really know. Yeah.
So so that's huge. So like those two things could easily be catalysts that bring everything down. Because I mean, Russia could just be and then I read somewhere that Russia over the last few years, and I knew this, and I think we actually talked about this. Russia's been slowly selling off their USD assets, so all their USD debt, blah blah. Like anything that's connected to USD, they've been selling it and then buying the Chinese yuan instead, or the renminbi, and so they don't care if America collapses now, and that could be one of the strategies of refusing to work with Saudis to get the oil down and having this price war now. It's like who can go lowest. They're just trying to like ruin each other, but at the end of the day, all it really does is kind of hurt us. So it could be anything. There you go.
So and what would be And
then throw in that on top of that, this idea that unemployment's been at an all-time low at 3%, quote unquote, yet the average American doesn't have more than $400 in savings. How do you square that circle? So you're telling me that everyone's working and nobody has $400 in savings for an emergency? Like something like something like 40 to 50% of the country doesn't have more than $400 in savings for an emergency. So either the numbers are completely out of whack, or the poll is completely out of whack. But like, what does that mean? So either all the numbers are wrong, or Americans are the worst savers on the face of the planet.
Could be both.
Yeah, could be. Peak capitalism. So yeah, that's my negativity for the night.
So what would make a nice thing to wake up to in the morning? A bounce in the markets? I don't even know.
BTC 2500, baby.
That'd
make me feel good.
Go all the way down, and then that's where your buy orders are set.
They're not that low, but I would definitely keep some on the side to buy it at that low.
Yeah, I earlier today I heard a lot of chatter about, it's going down possibly 3 digits, going down below December lows. I don't know. That's the reason I kept on buying it. It was just, I don't know. When am I going to get the opportunity to buy $4,000 Bitcoin?
I got greedy sub 4,000. I should have. I kept. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Mm-hmm.
Sub 5,000 is still pretty good.
Especially when it's dumping. It's just like, to me, it's like, oh, great, perfect time to buy.
Yeah.
But that's because I've been able to train myself to do that. That's really hard to do. I mean, especially you're not the only person who told me that you were selling too. So there were other people saying we're getting out, and that's really hard.
I was selling for the sole purpose of I just had a feeling it was going to keep going lower.
Uh-huh.
And I played it too long.
Yeah.
But I'm still, if I bought everything right now, I would still be up like 30% compared to where I was 3 days ago. I'm just kind of sitting here going to watch it and see if it goes any lower. But still, I'm going to make like a 30%
very nice
profit on the cryptos that I sold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. So.
Yeah, well, I wonder how some of the other altcoins are doing. It's
Do we want to talk about altcoins, or?
I know I don't really need to talk about altcoins. Why
Okay.
are you afraid of talking about altcoins? Do we get in trouble for talking about altcoins? Or are
No,
they
no,
just
but
in really
normally-
bad shape?
I mean, normally we just kind of fuck around and joke around and make fun of Nano, or not
yeah,
make fun
yeah.
of Nano,
No.
but like we talk about Nano, but we.
Oh, the only reason I would
But I wasn't
talk
sure if you
about
wanted to like specifically name anything else because that's usually something we
No.
avoid. But
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's true. No, I just wanted to. I was wondering if everything else was crashing even worse, and I mean, it doesn't quite. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really look that bad. I mean, some things bottomed out when Bitcoin went to hell, but
I mean, when I was
Yeah.
looking at the main ones, like the top 20 against Bitcoin, they all went down against Bitcoin, but not by drastic amounts.
yeah, and it looks like they all sort of hit their supports, so that looks kind of normal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at a chart for Dogecoin right now. I'll call out this one because it looks like it's still just not doing anything. So there you go. It's still flat. There's probably a lot of people watching Dogecoin right now waiting for it to pump so they can sell, but it hasn't pumped in a while, and who knows if it ever will ever again.
Yeah.
So how's
But
that
I mean,
for
like-
an altcoin shill?
I mean, Ethereum topped out against Bitcoin on the daily, and so like that seems to be crossing down. So we could be going into a decline against Bitcoin for the majority of the coins, because I feel like most of the coins I've been looking at that I've been following on the daily, they all were about to cross into bear against Bitcoin or had already crossed, like within the last day or two. So
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Everything's bouncing now. All right. Well, is there
Yeah.
anything else we need to go over? We've got a show tomorrow too, so we just wanted to come on the air and give a little perspective of.
just be a little depressing.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could have done it earlier in the moment of that crash. Right now, we're getting some green candles, so
Yeah.
kind of. But yeah, all right. Well, cool. Thanks
Sweet.
everyone for tuning in.
Yeah.
See you guys soon.